Good afternoon and welcome to the last Bearcat Update exclusive interview of the semester. Today I'm joined with men's basketball coach Matt Keeley. How are you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on today.
All right, and so you have coached at multiple programs, even helping build up one from scratch at Ottawa University. What aspects from those experiences are you most excited to use in your second year here at Northwest?
Yeah, it's as a lot of coaches, as you get into the profession, usually it requires some moves to start with. But most recently here, having been out at Ottawa, Arizona, was a super unique experience starting a program that hadn't existed before. I think while that isn't certainly the situation here at Northwest with a lot of great, pride and tradition, there are some similarities that I can lean on just from, having a new roster and that kind of being the deal in these days where there is a little more roster turnover than there was maybe 5 or 10 years ago. So trying to work on, just as we bring new guys into the program, building relationships as quick as we can, putting a team together as quick as we can, and urgency is certainly a part of that.
And Northwest has a championship culture. They've had several basketball championships or football championships. What last year, in your first year, did you see that really you were like, this is the place to be?
Yeah, I think, as an outside looking in, you hear the story of how special of a place Northwest is. I had previously, coached as an assistant coach in the league, and you see that, and you see it on the floor, and culture wins, and the T-shirts, and all that stuff, and has certainly been a part of the men's basketball program. But I feel like not just the athletic department, but just even the whole university takes great pride in that. And so, it probably boils down to, and we've used this tagline, as we've gone into recruiting for not only this year's team, but just even the future is, great people make great Bearcats. And I think that's what's been evident to me, whether that's administration or professors or teachers or students. It's just really fun to be on campus because you're surrounded by great people. And that's something that we want to take the baton of and know that that's existed in the past and keep that true in the present and hand it on to the next crew too.
And you brought up recruiting. So in the past, you have been praised as an elite recruiter and a servant leader. How did these two qualities go into shaping your roster when it comes to recruiting and then also building those relationships with the players?
I think that's something that just comes across as authentic. As you recruit players, especially in a smaller window now. Sometimes, it used to be you'd recruit them for a year. If it was a high school student, maybe 2 years. And now sometimes some of that recruiting gets done, in as short a time as like 10 to 12 days. And so how can you impress to people that you're recruiting what it is? And so the number one thing is you gotta lead your group. You gotta and I think one of the best ways to do that is to serve them. Sometimes you think of serving them as giving them things, but also it's giving them things like accountability or casting a vision. And so we're going to look for guys that fit our program and fit our play style, and that goes both athletically as well as personality.
In the last season, you led Northwest through a transition of leadership. What did you learn about the team, the program, and also, as well yourself, that will lead the team in the future?
Well, I think you're reminded just how hard winning is, and that it happens on purpose, and then you have to earn it in every single day, and so. You just have a great appreciation for the process of it and the journey of it. In a perfect world, we'd have been able to figure that out, in a semester. It's just not always that quick. And so we're still in that process. I think we'll be in that process, probably the whole time I'm here, which I hope is several years, but I think it's just no season is ever the same. Each year brings up new stories and new people in your program, even if you bring a large group of guys back. And so then it's just leaning into, the journey that each group goes on and taking, teachable moments and taking, as coaching cliche as it is, everyone right now is in pursuit of how can we get better every single day. And the group that does that the best, I think, is usually one of the groups that is really excited to still be playing in late February and March.
And you're talking about playing in late February and late March. You have been have been in national tournaments as a player and as a coach. How do those high-level experiences influence your vision for getting Northwest back to that position, like you were just talking about?
Yeah, I think that's the standard. You got to always realize that the other teams in the conference have really good coaches and scholarships players and all the things too. So. It's really easy, especially in a place like Northwest, to get caught up maybe competing against yourself. Hey, here's what some of the teams of the past have done. Can we meet that standard? And we want to fight off that deal because we don't want to compete against ourselves. We are the Bearcats. We want to take the things that have been great tradition from Coach Tapmeyer to obviously the Coach McCollum teams to some of the football teams or some of the other sports that have done great things, and just feel immersed in that, like that's who we are, and run with that momentum. And then even sometimes you can get caught up with like losing sleep over, man, this opponent, they're really good and they do this and that, and it's can create anxiety. So you just try to simplify it, and we break that down into our culture. We define we say we want to play fast, we want to be faithful, assertive, selfless, and tough. And so we talk a lot about being faithful to our job every day, and selfless as teammates, assertive in our decisions, tough in our responses. And so those are the things we focus on, and that's how we believe we can get the 1% better, so that when we do get to go up and play against an opponent, we're well prepared to do so.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Go Bearcats.